Just about time for Tech Talk Tuesday, number 109. Y'all let me know when you get up there. Hey, Bryce. Hey, Chuck. Garen. Give me a sound check. Y'all hear me all right? Everybody hear me? Hey, Lori. Oh, Lori, you're going to love this one. I don't know if you can stay on the whole time, but check this out. That's just for you. Hey, Chris. Charlie, Chris, Garen, Danielle, Steve. Man, that's good. Got a good start coming. I can't wait to see what Lori has to say about this. I was hoping that I wouldn't have like cam experts on here. Hey. Cool name, Bryce. Yes, you are. All right. I'm going to tell you a little quick story about what happened for Tech Talk number 108 last Tuesday. Hey, Steph, Greg, Chuck, Harold. Cool names. Yeah, Timothy. Loud and clear. Good. Ben, all right. Let's get us. Come on, y'all. Get signed up. Let's do this. I got some duration. I got about 28 minutes of duration to talk to you about. And I want to tell you about some history and a little bit about what happened last week. And we got to hurry up. So y'all sign on. Come on, let's get Michael. Come on. Hey, Brian. Michael. Brian, God bless you for that beautiful picture on you. You wish you were that pretty on your profile picture. Jamie. Sean. Devery. Brian. Carmenio. That's almost like a El Carmenio. Theodore. Jim Bob, what's up? Got some heroes on here. Some of my people that I look up to for mentors, information, cool stuff to share ideas with so we can all gain and grow and learn. All right, I'm going to change over and we're going to have to talk to the old man for a minute here. So let's see if we can get him on here. Yeah, I know that's me. There I am. Okay. I'm a little bit slanted over here. Let's see how you fix this thing. Okay. I feel better than I look. Noel. Okay. Carmino, or Carmino. I don't know. Michael. All right, I'm going to be over here. I'm going to be slanted for a minute like this. Okay, so cool story. So me and some friends went to Memphis International to the drag strip last Tuesday. We rented the track. There were a couple pro stock motorcycles there. There were some pro mod cars. There were some sportsman cars and a super stock car maybe. And of course some Harleys. So me and some friends went. We rented the track with these guys. And it was, hey Mike, one thing that was amazing there was the degrees. Not duration. Well, yes, we did. We had some serious duration. It was 100 degrees in the shade, and it was very humid, and it was very hot, and there was no breeze. I mean, zero breeze, and I was unbelievably hot. We got there with the old plywood trailer. No. Sorry, I'm wrong. It was a very nice aluminum trailer. It just didn't have air conditioning. I'm not mad about it. I knew it. I knew it was going to be hot. Then put leathers on, and then I was excited. And let me tell you what made the temperature go up. It was about almost this time, 7 days ago. It was a little bit sooner than this. It was like 5:30 Eastern, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, we go live at 6 o'clock. I'm at the track. I thought about it. I said, I want to talk about a few things. I want to get on my leathers, my helmet, get on the starting line, and talk about Buck and have a guy hold the camera for me. And we were going to do a run live. And so my phone, there was no phone service. I couldn't even hardly call anybody or text anybody. I had one bar showing on what my Verizon was, and everybody there, I got AT&T, and I got this, and I got that, and everybody, I think we work off the same tower. I think it's like that gas pipeline that comes up from the Gulf over here, and when it stops at the Exxon station, they dump out some and put their decal on it, and it gets over to the BP station, and they dump out some, and they put their decal on it. I'm pretty sure that the phone services use the same satellite and the same towers now. It's just like this engine stuff. These are my ideas and my opinions. So laugh with me for a minute, okay, because I'm not trying to start an argument. But anyway, I realized my phone service was poor, so I went and found Jeff Miles. I said, Jeff, y'all got Wi-Fi here? And he said, yeah, we got Wi-Fi. I said, good. He said, only problem is I don't know the password. Okay. Well, do you have anybody you can call? Yeah, let me text my buddy and see if he's got the password. So Jeff, God bless him, man. He busted butt. He worked and worked and worked. He came up with 3 possible passwords. And then, so time was running out. I had my leathers on. I had butt warmed up. The track was ready. It was about 10 till time. And so I looked at my phone and my phone locked up. I'm talking about like, okay, it's time for one of those force reboots, right? So I gave the phone to Jamie. Jamie said, I know how to force reboot. So he gets in his truck and he's on the phone with somebody with his phone and they're trying to force reboot my phone. Timmy's giving me his phone. So I go on Facebook on Timmy's phone and I find my profile. I can't figure out how to sign up on my profile. And here comes Jeff with the password for the track Wi-Fi. So okay, finally we tried 3 different passwords, finally got through, but I got through on Timmy's phone. Then 1 minute till Tech Talk Tuesday, never missed one in 107 weeks in a row, going on 3rd year without missing one Tech Talk Tuesday. Here comes Jamie with my phone. I got it unlocked. Okay, dial in, put on my helmet, put on everything, run up there, fire the buck up, run up the starting line. I tell Jamie's friend to take my phone up there and let's do this. So I get on the phone. We crank up buck. I say, okay, I'm going to the starting line. I'm going to stage it. I'm going to do a burnout. I'm going to stage up, and I'm going to make the maiden voyage on Buck live on Facebook. And everybody can see this bike go. I was hoping it'd go a 10 something, maybe a low 10. And really, one day soon, I hope to go a high 9 with it because it is a real street bike. I'm going to tell you the specs on it in a minute. Hey, don't fade away. Look, I'm going to do some very, very encouraging and complicated camshaft stuff here in a minute, okay? So hang tight. This is just, I got to tell the story because all you guys watched me last week. I had over 100 people live, and I was freaking out that this happened to me. So my phone got it working 1 minute till. Yay. Thank you, everybody involved. There was about 6 or 10 people helping me get this done. Jackie's on the other end of the line. She's trying to give me my password for Facebook. I don't know my password for Facebook. My phone saves everything. I don't even know Jackie's phone number. I hit a button on the phone. I don't even know Julie's phone number. I hit a button on my phone and it calls them. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. Know more about camshafts than I do phones. And y'all have seen me in 107 or 8 weeks screw up with this phone because I'm not that tech savvy on all this electronic stuff. But anyway, to digress as far as I can, go to the starting line, get buck running, do the burnout, and we roll to the starting line. And I go up, and I bump the top light on, and I look in the tree, and I'm getting ready. I got the RPM up about 3,000, just barely giving it the gas. I roll in, I get staged, and I'm ready for the lights, and the lights don't come on. So I sit there idling, blah, 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 switch it off. The guy says, hey, I don't know if they turned the clocks on. I'm like, I was the first guy, first stripe. It was time. It was, y'all know Tech Talk. You got to do it at 6 o'clock Eastern. So I missed out on making the run. Let's say, are you still there? Whew. All right, so the funny thing about it is we got on Wi-Fi and we continued marching towards getting the first pass. So the guy says, the clocks are ready, George, do it. So I fired it up and put it in the beams. And as soon as I got ready to go, we got 1 foot further away from the Wi-Fi in the tower, and we lost service. And so I went blank, black, dead, undisconnected, so y'all didn't get to see my run. Anyway, I took off good. Went in second good, third gear good, and I went to put it in fourth. And I didn't back off the throttle enough. I went, and then didn't let off enough, and then stayed in third, hit the rev limiter, stayed in third, put it in fourth, and went through a 10.6, 124 miles an hour. I was very disappointed, but it wasn't live on Facebook, so I didn't have so much egg on my face that it worried me. But anyway, I felt bad because you guys, I missed. No, I didn't. We made it on time. It was a lot of effort, a lot of people, but it wasn't production that I had planned. You know why? Because we don't get to plan the future. We can only experience what had happened, learn from it, and move forward. So this Tech Talk number 109, I got a little bit better service now. I'm at home, and Jackie's got me hooked up to LTE, I think it is, and it's got pretty good service, so I should be fine. But I wanted to tell you that's what happened. Anyway, the next run, I didn't miss fourth gear. I was way more deliberate on shifting, and I got it to go a 1040 something at 127. And then the next run, I held it I used, like I told Jamie, I said I used the whole dyno sheet in first gear. I used the whole dyno sheet in second, third, fourth, and fifth, and I got it to go a 1042, I think, or 1043 at 129 miles an hour. That's with 93 octane Exxon gasoline right out of the pump. Driving around town here in Hendersonville and Nashville, and it runs cool, and it has muffler, and it has air cleaner, and it's a real street bike. But I had fun trying. Thank y'all. Now, first hit off the trailer. Yeah, usually I do pretty good off the trailer, but I'm old. Next week I'll be 67. So that was the only run I made in 2021, the only time I've been to the track, so that was new. I was rusty. I knew I was rusty. I was very sore the next day after only making 3 runs. I don't know. I guess it's harder on an old man. Plus, and I know I'm not old compared to you, but I'm a lot older than you. But to me, that's the oldest right now today is the oldest I've ever been. But anyway, I'll be 67 next time I ride it. I'm going to change it back over to the board now. And this is going to be some real quick specs on Buck, okay? Buck is a 2003 CVO. It's got a really cool custom engine, and all you engine guys, I don't care if you race pro stock cars, pro mod cars, you race road race cars, or you just race motorcycles or ride motorcycles. This is interesting stuff. It's a 2003 CVO. It's a Road King. It's got that gold paint on it. It's a T126 engine from S&S. They don't make them anymore. We put a set of 143 cylinders on it, S&S 143 cylinders, which made the bore a big 4.440. It has a Stanley Gardner at GRC boys there. They did the crank for me. It's a 4.1 crank. Has 2.3 titanium intake valves and a 1.8 titanium exhaust valve. Has 720 lift cams, only 250 on the intake duration because we have enough valve in it. It has 262 duration on the exhaust. It's got B2 heads that Ron ported over at Star Racing back when we were doing that, and a 62 millimeter HPI cable operated throttle body. It makes 155 foot-pounds of torque way down at 5,000 RPM. Not way down, but that's pretty far up. But listen, y'all, it's got a nice flat torque curve, so it makes so much at 2,000, it's a lot of fun. It makes so much at 3,000, it's a lot of fun. But it stays flat all the way up to about 5,500, then the torque noses over, but it makes 175 horsepower at 7,000 RPM. Now, to segue into all of that work, it ended up making the engine a 129.6. Now, that, you know, Harley's selling 131 kits for people to ride around everywhere. S&S is selling them. Everybody's got a 128, a 130, 131 kit now for these. So that is not hot, especially with these cylinders. These are very thick cylinders. These T126 cases are bored out so that I have a lot of material. These are very thick and reliable sleeves that are made by Darton sleeves. And the crankshaft is the intake opens at 20 and closes at 50 after bottom, and the exhaust opens at 60 and closes at 22 after. It opens at 60 before bottom and closes 22 after top. That's only 42 degrees overlap. Now, rushing through all that just so I could get to this part, I want to tell you something about the segue of these numbers into something that is a little more complicated, because this is what people look at on the internet. I want a 250 intake and a 262 exhaust, and I want the duration to be, I want, you know, the lobe separation to be and the center line to be, and I want this and I want that, and I want the intake closing at 50. All these guys got these ideas. Now, yes, it is. It's big block Chevy valve size with a really big bore, but it is the front 2-cylinder. What is that thing? It's a great point. Let's say it's a 129 times 4 equals, that's a 516 Chevy V8 with really big cylinder heads on it. But it has got lots of power between 3,000 and 6,000 RPM, so it's a really good streeter. Just because it turns 7,000 doesn't mean you ride it around at 7,000. When I go riding on it, I ride it around, 2, 3, 4,000, just like anybody with a street bike. Okay, now, I took this information that I'm going to talk to you about off of this sheet that is called a Cam Pro Plus Cam Lift Report. This is a pro stock camshaft that we ran in NHRA. It was, I think they're still out there. It's a 570 lobe on the intake, a 600 lobe on the exhaust, and the lobe lift was 570, but it has a 2-to-1 rocker, which makes an inch 140 lift, okay? An inch 140 lift. That is not a 600 lift cam. That is not a 700, 800 like you read about. This is over an inch of lift. But the lobe is a 570 lift with a 2-to-1 rocker arm, and it makes an inch 140. Now the exhaust side is a 600 lobe times 2-to-1 rocker is an inch 200 lift. Now these numbers that I'm going to show you on here, first of all, I want to show you 360-degree crankshaft rotation. And this cam right here, it opens at 20 before top. So this intake valve would open about 20 degrees before top dead center, and it would stay open a full 273 degrees and close way over here at 72 after bottom. Here's bottom, intake strokes from here to here, and this intake valve closes a full 72 degrees after bottom. So that's a great gulp. Now what I did to show you where the lobe center is in this revolution is I took the opening and the closing, and halfway right between the two is the lobe center, which is 1/16. The lobe center is right here. This is the lobe center at 570 lift. And please take all these lifts. Look at them. 500 lift, 400 lift, 300 lift, 200 lift. You see all these lifts I wrote right here? Can you see them? If I got it too high. There you go. Maybe you can see it better. All these lifts is times the rocker ratio. So that would be like 100 lift right here times 2-to-1 rocker. That would be a 200 lift. 200 lift, lobe lift would be 400 lift. All the way up here to 500 lift, that would be 1 inch with a 2-to-1 rocker ratio. Does that make sense to you guys? It's double these lobe lifts. This is the lobe, and the valve, this lobe will lift the lifter. The push rod will go up and hit the rock arm, and the rock arm has, it's like a short seesaw on one side and long on the other side, and it gives you 2-to-1 on the valve. So when it moves this side of the rock arm up 500, the long lever moves the valve twice that, so it's 1 inch lift. Now, when you order cams and you say, I want this lobe center and I want that lobe center, I broke this down for you. All the lift reports usually come up with duration at 6 thou lift, duration at 20 thou lift, duration at 50 thou lift. This is typical for our industry. We find out what the valve opens. It opens at 50. It gives us 273 degrees duration. This cam does. But at 6 thou lift, when you crack this valve off the seat, and the valve is only 6 thou off the seat, and then you measure this much duration all the way over here to 6 thou off the seat again, that is a full 329 degrees duration. I know that's crazy, right? But when somebody says this is a 273 cam, they're talking about from 50 lift, right here I'll put the little orange star, from 50 lift all the way to full lift and all the way back to 50 lift. That gives you 273 degrees duration. Now, think about that. This is a 329, and some people call that advertised duration. That's really where you get messed up. Some people measure 20 thou lift, which is 303 degrees duration. And if you do 100 lift, when the valve's 100 off the seat, and you go all the way full lift back to 100 off the seat, it's only 241 degrees duration. And look at this one. This is the one that just really cracks me. 570 lift times 2 gives you 1 inch. What did I say it was? 1 inch, 140. Guess how many degrees duration it has at full lift? 1. But yet this is the number, this 1 inch lift or 570 lift or whatever, this is the number that our industry focuses on. This is the number the flow bench guys work off of. This is the number the airspeed guys work off of. They all want to know, what does the head do at max lift? Even though we're at 6 thou lift and up for 329 degrees duration, we're at 50 thou lift and up and back to 50 thou for 273 degrees duration. They only want to know what's happening at full lift. So here's our crankshaft rotation again, 360 degrees. Intake valve opens here at 50, goes all the way to full lift, and back from full lift all the way back to close. So the only place that's at full lift is at this 1 degree of 116 after top dead center. 116 thousandths, 116 degrees after top dead center. And then it's another 116 degrees to the close. Anyway, it's 273 divided by 2. Let's do this. I said that wrong, but we're going to do it right now. 273 divided by 2 equals 136 minus the opening of 20, minus the opening of 20, lift, opens at 20, right here. It opens 20 degrees before top dead center. So we're going to minus the opening, minus 20 equals, did it wrong again. This calculator loves me. It's 273 divided by 2 equals 136.5 minus 20, 116. That's the lobe separation. Nope, that's the lobe center. Now, think about this for a minute, guys. This camshaft, this is a lobe that you just buy a lobe. And it ain't a stick, it's just a lobe. And it's sitting in the engine at 116 lobe center. Now, this is an intake. If you take the exhaust and you put it on where it needs to be, the exhaust is going to open over here, and it's going to close over here. So you're going to put these lobes in where they have to be in order to suit the firing order of the engine. So if you do that, then you'll get a lobe center, a lobe separation, and all those numbers. But this lobe has got, look at this duration. At 400 lift, it's got 122 degrees duration. At 50 thou lift, it's got 273 degrees duration. It's just interesting to me because that is, when somebody tells you what the duration of a cam is, what is the lift they're talking about? And the flow bench guys, they want to know what it flows at full lift. Okay, well, you'll get some progressive guys. They say, yeah, but my heads have great low lift flow on a flow bench. And I'm like, what's your low lift flow? And they say, like at 100. I said, okay, let's go look at 100. Let's take 100. Let's find one on here. 100. At 100 lift. All right, times that, times the rocker ratio, that is now 200 lifts. So we got to go to 50. At 50, it's 20 degrees before top dead center. So they're flowing it before the piston gets to the top. They're flowing it at, on the exhaust stroke, at the end of the exhaust stroke. They're starting to flow it here, and they're flowing it right here when it's closing, right while it's closed, and they're trying to get the compression right on the compression stroke. It's very confusing. That's good questions you guys are sending across here. I would love for you to send me some questions, PM me questions, email me. I would love to talk about this a little more. It's very confusing, I understand. And then if you go over here and look at this exhaust lobe that goes on here, this one's at 117, almost 118 lobe center line in reference to this one in at 116. Lobe center. So the lobe separation between this one, the intake and the exhaust, would be only 116 and a half. That's the lobe separation, even though the lobe center is 116 on the intake and the lobe center on the exhaust is 118. That gives us a lobe separation of 116 and a half, or yeah, something like that. I think it's close. I'm doing math off the top of my head. Now, this lobe and this engine, with that much lift and that much duration, made lots of power at 8,500, 9,000, 9,500, and we could rev it all the way to 10,500. But it also had really big valves, 2.7, 2.8 intake valves, and an inch 140 lift. So this is extreme. This is more like a 396 Chevelle, or this is the same stuff you would like to have if you had a really fast car that you can drive on the street and do a little street strip, or bracket racing. Also, you guys, when I talk about the Harley, that's 2 front cylinders of a V8, or 2 back cylinders or 2 middle cylinders of a V8. So when this is 129 cubes times 4 inches, it would be over 500 cubic inches. Same bore and stroke of a really nice V8. Same valve sizes, same rocker ratio. This engine has a 1.72 rocker ratio. That's how this cam got to 720. It's a really little lobe. It's like, I don't know, 420, 419 lobe, where this one's a 570 lobe. This lobe is a little lobe, like 419 or 4, I can't remember exactly, but it's times 1.725 rocker ratio gives us the 720 lift. So to me, that looks just like what you said, big Ford. And also, you guys, all these numbers and all this duration and all these places. Here's why the duration is what it is. This is going to help you see it right here. I'm going to try and help you understand. At 50 thou lift, it opens here and closes here. So the duration is everything above this line. At say 300 lift, we start checking duration. At 300 lift opening and 300 lift closing, the duration is what's above that line. And when you want the valves are open longer than you think they are. It's 6 thou off the seat and 6 thou off the seat all the way from here to here above that line. It's 329 degrees duration on a little 270 cam. That's why it's hard to make power with the valves open. That's my stuff, y'all. That's my opinion. I was going to talk to you about velocity and airspeed and ports and stuff today, but I get a little ramped up talking about this stuff, and the guys want to know what something flows at these lifts. And we need to spend time on what's going on before full lift and after full lift. This is where there's a lot of air going in the engine. And the flow bench can't see the piston. When the piston goes down and the intake valve's open, 100 to 200 times a second, the piston's going up and down, so the air is going in and out, and the flow bench measures it really slow, one way, only going in, and when you turn on the exhaust, it only blows out. But in reality, it's going like in and out like that, and it's hard to quantify. Now, true enough, the guys with the flow benches that are married and live and die by flow numbers, it is a tool. It is a great tool. But remember, nothing's moving. It is steady state. It is hard to grab a snapshot of a 720 degree rotation and say what it does at 1 degree, because there's a lot more going on in 720 degrees. Yeah, Scott, great question. If the intake is open when the exhaust is coming up, yes. But that's the handicap. That's the compromise. That's the sacrifice we have to have the valve open far enough when the piston is giving full demand to the port and the valve. You got to start soon enough so you have enough opening by the time it's ready to be all it can be. It's not a light switch. If we could turn it, we could leave the valve closed all the time except for when we need it and blast it open like an electric solenoid and then blast it shut. It would be fine, but we can't do that because there's too many mechanical things involved and you'll break a lot of parts, which I had to learn the hard way. I ran over all the 8620 and all the 9310 and all the cool chromoly stuff. Ran over a lot of parts trying to figure out how to make this a smooth deal that would rev up that high and put that much lift in it. But I did run out of time. I wanted to tell you guys, thank you for watching. Sorry for my mess up last week. We tried really hard. Next week's going to be Tech Talk number 110. We're well into the 3rd year. It's because of you guys that are interested in what we're talking about. Jackie's going to take this as a recording and put it on our YouTube page, which is Star Racing GA. And there is a good library of all these old Tech Talks on there where I started. And by the grace of the good Lord and the creek don't rise, I wanted to say, y'all, I know there was a lot of friends and family we have that lost a lot of property and had some real damage down near the Gulf and above the Gulf there. But I don't think we lost any lives that we know. There's a lot of people died and there's a lot of stuff got tore up. But there's no test. There's no testimony without a test. So may God bless y'all. we're all brothers and sisters in this high performance industry where we want to make more horsepower, and we're thankful that you care about the same thing. And I'm passionate about it, and I'm glad you are too. Have a great night. Good night.